Hey YouTube, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to talk. Sorry if I keep laughing through this, but I thought I got it all out of my system yesterday, but evidently I did not. So my wife and we sat down to watch the pilot episode of the Charmed reboot, and hilarity ensued. Just a massive amount of wokeness was thrown in my face. I think it was thrown at me way too fast for me to possibly comprehend. My wife didn't even like the show, and she was like an uber fan of the original series, like to the point where she had the soundtrack like on CDs and stuff. And I had a passive interest in it because she would rewatch the show and it was playing in the back while I was working on comic art or working on a model kit or something like that. So anyway, to get right down into it, within the first 10 minutes, you're kind of assaulted by woke themes. There was references to rape culture at a college party. There was a white male that was referred to as a cisgendered individual who wouldn't be the right choice for the head of women's studies at the campus that two of the Charmed ones are attending at the time. And then there was also some violence, some good old bash the fash or punch Nazis, because one of the Charm sisters was having trying to promote like a Time's Up rally, because one of the professors at the school had an allegation against them for sexual misconduct with a student. And then a white male student came up to her and had a differing opinion on the account of what happened. And so she punched him in the face. And she 100% got away with it. It's part of the very, the left-wing, fantasy violence that's going on. The same thing, depending on what other channels that you tune into, Jeremy Hambley from The Quartering was physically assaulted by a Punch Nazis individual. And your boy Zach from Diversity in Comics, who was not actually physically assaulted, but there was a plan that was uncovered by one of his political enemies to try and trigger his PTSD so that he could knock him out or some kind of nonsense like that. So we got 15 minutes into the show before we turned it off, and we did a little bit of research on it, and some things that we found out is that in the show the Charm Sisters are going to save us from the impending apocalypse, and there's three signs of the apocalypse coming. The third one, we don't know. We didn't stick around long enough. The second sign of the apocalypse coming was that their mother was killed. The first sign of the apocalypse was President Donald Trump being elected as president of the United States, and this is not something that I'm making up. I pulled this up right here so that I could read it to you, and this is the dialogue from the show. Harry, who is a white lighter, I'm quoting him here. It's all here, the Book of Shadows. The ancient oracles predicted three signs of the apocalypse. The first, when the weakest of men reaches ill-gotten glory, and, oh God, this goes on and on. The language is far too flowery for my taste, but suffice to say, it's your current president. So, a democratically elected president of the United States is the first sign of the impending apocalypse. I don't know. I took an interest in this, and we started doing some other research, and we found some other articles that were written. Now, I was able to find a quote from Melanie Diaz, who was on the show, and I think her name was actually Mel in the show, but she's quoted as saying that. Let me find this real quick. Let's see. They want to push the idea that it's a series for everyone, and Diaz goes on to say, the ideal audience is everyone, but most specifically high school girls watching with their mothers and men who want to be on the right side of history. So I guess supporting the ideology that it's cool to physically assault your political adversaries in the open, on campus, that's a really good idea. I don't know. I couldn't really stop laughing at this. But anyway, for anybody who's seen it, we'd like to know what your opinion of this is. If you could drop us a comment down below, we'd really appreciate that. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm sure that the story is going to unfold more. I don't see that this show is going to make it very long, because I also checked out the Rotten Tomatoes score on this. And for the level of wokeness, it was given a surprisingly low score from the critics. I think it was down in the 60s. I think it was 65 with an audience score as of yesterday at like 24. So it is not being well received whatsoever. But that's in line with a very popular slogan right now, which is get woke, go broke. You tried to go too far too soon, and it didn't take. So we'll see if this actually gets a second season, or if it keeps running the way it is. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave us a comment below, and we'll see you next time. Bye.